How's it going, everyone? Grim here again with another unboxing of a Warhammer 40k model. Today we have the Astra Militarum Valkyrie. So this, although it looks like a really cool gunship and it does have some weapons, it is actually a transport, not necessarily a gunship per se. But anyway, this particular model will set you back 85 US dollars, or if you're in the UK, 52.50 pounds. Let's go ahead and get this open here. Okay. I like these boxes that open like this. Okay, so that's cool. So the first thing we have here is the instruction manual in black and white as usual. Some instructions in all different languages, but that's pretty cool. It's a pretty detailed looking instructions so far. I like how inside the actual airframe you can put a gunner there, so that's pretty cool. All right, nice. These seem to be pretty well written instructions. I think they're relatively easy to follow. All right. Two pilots. And there you go. And then these are all some landing gear, right? Some different weapon loadout options. So this particular one, like I said, it's a transport, and it can transport 12 infantry. But then it also has some melee, not melee, but range weapons, right? Comes with a multi-laser and Hellstrike missiles standard. But then you could also swap out a las cannon and these really cool rocket pods. And then you can also get some heavy bolters on this as well. So this is the completed model. You can see here, very nice, really cool. I really like how this particular aircraft, and in truth many of the aircraft in Warhammer 40k, have these vertical exhausts on the wingtips that kind of help give it that hovering capability that a lot of them have, right? So that's pretty cool. But obviously the back here would be the ramp where you can transport the troops and they can embark and disembark. So there you go. Those are the instructions. All right. So let's go ahead and look at what is inside the box. Standard aircraft pylon in clear plastic, so it pretends like it's flying. Here's the actual cockpit canopy in clear plastic. Pretty nice. I think several of these aircraft, these Astra Militarum aircraft, share that same cockpit canopy type thing. But anyway, here we go. This is the first sprue. You can see this is the main fuselage of the aircraft. These are the sides. This is, so if you can look, this is the rear of the aircraft. This is that gunner door that we saw in the instructions, right? Okay, the inside, the interior is detailed. So if you wanted to paint up the interior, because you will be able to see out of it, right? If you're looking into the aircraft, you will be able to see into the interior of the aircraft, which has all of these details. Look at that, right? I'm actually kind of surprised that they did a lot of this. This is really cool. Yeah, look at that. Okay. Second sprue. Okay, so this is what I was talking about, right? These are these little exhausts, or like I guess vertical takeoff and landing type of thrusters at the wingtips that give it that hovering capability. So this is the top side of the wing, and then the bottom side of the wing, or the underside of the wing. It's a nice couple of missiles, right? Landing gear. Right, here's the stabilizers. I think these might have been the elevators. I'm not too sure. Third sprue. Also, it's a 4-sprue kit. Okay, you can see these are the rocket pods. Very nice. Each individual rocket can be seen. All right. Here are the heavy bolters that you can add as an option. This looks like it's the front of the aircraft where the cockpit is. The tails, right? It has 2 tails. Las cannon. So you could, this is the multi-laser. Pretty cool. Okay, and then the last sprue, you can see the engines. And if we look at the, I want to show you the top of the box again. Because it has a nice color picture. And if you look at this, right, these are the engines here. And the engine, half the engine is actually in the fuselage of the vehicle. So when they make the actual kit, they don't actually have to have these full engines, right? They just have, you know, the upper half, because that's the only part you actually see. But because the front here is exposed, it kind of makes it look like it's, you know, clearly it's a big tube. The engines are these 2 long tubes, clearly, but the actual plastic itself, right, is just the top half that's exposed, and it rests on top of the fuselage. And then here the front gives it the illusion that it's actually 2 fully cylindrical engines. Okay, here's the little dudes, the pilots. A couple of head options. The cockpit itself. The interior instrument panel. All right. So actually, these are the pilots' lower torsos. So I guess this is actually, these 2 bodies are the gunners. I apologize, they're not the pilots, they're the gunners. So where are the upper torsos of the pilots? That's the question. That must be these right here. And they'll just rest on top there. And then you put any one of these heads you want. And then of course, these piloting arms here, right? These are for the gunners. And then these here are for the pilots. I like how they include these little plastic frames, or, well, I guess in real life they're supposed to be these metal frames that go around the canopy. So if we look at the canopy, bring that back, right? They'll just fit right onto them, which looks a lot cooler, a lot more modern or current day, because a lot of helicopters in the military, the US military at least, like the Apache or the Longbow, right, their canopies have this aluminum frame around them. So that's why these are here, to kind of make it look more like modern day aircraft. So that's kind of cool. The base, and then you have the transfer sheet here at the bottom. Let's see here. This is like the standard Astra Militarum transfer sheet, I think. Aside from the one that comes with the Cadian infantry squad, this is like the one that comes with pretty much most or many of the vehicles, the Astra Militarum vehicles. All the different sub-factions here. Right, Valhallan, Catachan, Armageddon, Teleran, Mordian. Some of these are more obscure, like Riza. Oh, Necromunda. I don't know if you can read that. You can actually... I don't know if this is an actual model you can play in the Necromunda game, but... There you go. Oh, yeah. It says here, Imperial Guard tank transfers. So this is the generic one that they put in, I guess, in all Astra Militarum vehicles. But aside from that, once again, let me show you the finished product. Is this really nice, really cool, in my opinion, looking transport flyer. Unfortunately, in my opinion, its weapons are so-so. It's great as a transport because, you know, it's got a 45-inch movement, and so you can get 12 troops, maybe a squad of 10 troops, and then a character or 2 characters downrange really fast. Of course, you're gonna have to wait a turn to get them out there onto the battlefield, but it's not so good, in my opinion, as a gunship. Like I said, the actual weapons are so-so. A multi-laser and some missile pods is but it does have this one really cool feature. The Valkyrie does. Well, it has two cool features, in my opinion. All right, first of all, a unit of this Valkyrie, you could have up to 3 in the unit. So while many vehicles, it's only the one vehicle that constitutes a unit, like the Leman Russ, this one can have up to 3. Of course, with the current match play rules, you can only have 2 actual flyer models in your 2,000 point army. But if you're doing an apocalypse, then you could have 3, and so you could have an entire unit of this, and that would only take up 1 unit's worth. But it does have that squadron ability where once you actually start the game, they kind of break up into their own individual subunits, so to speak. With their own individual, they can go, they don't have to have unit coherency, that type of thing. So that's one cool thing, is that you can have up to 3 of these in a unit. And maybe if the rules change later on down the road with 10th edition or whatever, that allows for more flyers than just 2 for a 2,000 point game, then that would be a good ability. The second cool thing about this, it has the supersonic ability that most flyers have. And that is, if you're not familiar, these flyers, this basically, they're -1 to hit. So, you know, if you have these flyers, because they're quote-unquote supersonic, they're going super fast, you try and hit them, you try and hit your enemy's flyer that has supersonic, it's a -1 penalty to your hit roll. This also has, however, the ability to hover, like many flyers do. And that ability to hover means that you're no longer supersonic, so you no longer get that -1 to be hit. But this particular unit's hover ability makes it +1 to its ballistic skill, which is normally a 4+ when it's fully wounded out at the beginning without any degradation. So if it's a 4+ normally, and it's in hover mode, you get a +1 to ballistic skill. So it's kind of cool depending on the ebb and flow of the game, depending on how your strategy is. You might want to keep this bad boy supersonic so that it's harder for your enemy to hit it. Or you might want to turn it into hover mode, where then it's a lot easier for you to shoot your enemy. So I think that's a really cool ability, and you can decide during your command phase, I believe, whichever one you want to use for that, supersonic or hover. And so that's really cool. Otherwise, that is it for this unboxing. Thank you very much for joining me. If you liked this unboxing, please like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. If I missed anything and you want to add more, or maybe I said something that was wrong and you want to correct me, by all means, leave a comment in the comment area below. Otherwise, thank you very much for spending this time with me. Grim out.